Hi everyone! Alright, this is Tomo. Thanks for watching. Tomo です。いつもご視聴いただきありがとうございます。今日はですね、ゲストスピーカーに、スペシャルゲストスピーカーに来ていただいております。一ノ瀬安先生です。
一ノ瀬です。よろしくお願いします。
ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。
日本のね、トップのね、英語講師として働かれておられる、一ノ瀬先生に今日はお越しいただきました。今回はどういうふうにこのコラボになったかということでね、経緯と説明、そしてまた先生の紹介をちょっとね、させていただきたいんですけれども、まずはね、経緯からなんですが、ちょっと YouTube の方で、動画を先生の拝見何個もさせていただいていて、主にですね、国連英検の準備で、とてもお世話になりました。ありがとうございました。はい、で、メッセージをね、ちょっとさせていただいて、Twitter の方で返事くださってですね、今日こうコラボさせていただくことに至りました。本当にありがとうございます。
いえいえ、こちらこそ光栄です。ありがとうございます。
そしたらちょっと一ノ瀬先生、自己紹介を少し簡単にしていただいて。
日本語でいいんですか？
日本語で、はい、お願いします。
一ノ瀬安と申します。父親はベトナムの出身で、母親が日本人で、日本生まれなんですけど、3歳の時に、父親の仕事の関係でオーストラリアに移住して、で、そこで20年間暮らしたので、自分の教育は全部オーストラリアで、行われたってことなんですけど、20年間ずっと住んでたんですけど、やっぱ日本のことが大好きでですね、日本のアニメとか、ゲームとか、漫画とか常にこう触れていたので、だから教育学部卒業してるんで、オーストラリアの学校で教えられるんですけど、その前にきっと日本に暮らしたいなって思ったんですね。だから23歳の時に日本に戻ってきて、でなんかいろんなバイトしたいなってまず最初思って、最初やったのがちょっとスーパーの精肉部の
そうなんですか。
肉詰めてましたねとか、あとはやっぱどうしてもその学習関連になっちゃうんですけど、個別指導塾で、バイトを4年ぐらい続けて、で、そこで出会った同僚が実は紹介したい人がいるんだけどって言われて、その人が、今働いてるトフルゼミナールっていう予備校で働いてる人で、そこで仲良くなって、つながってして、そこでもう10年ぐらい働いてるっていう感じですかね。で、今は予備校講師をしていて、であと、YouTube チャンネルも運営しております。
はい、ありがとうございます。そしたら、幼少期はもう完全にオーストラリアで過ごされたと。
そうですね。
はい。3歳からとおっしゃってました。
そうですね。
何歳まで
？23までですね。
23ですか。とすると20年間の
そうですね。
そうなんですね。長い時間ですね。
そうですね。
はい。その間はちなみにちょっと後でお聞きしようと思ったんですけど、なんでそんなに日本語がお上手なんですか？
どうなんですかね。正直大学生ぐらいになるまでそんなに上手くなかったですね。
あ、そうなんですか。
読み書きも当然ながらできないですし、別にね、日本人学校とか通ってたわけじゃないので、なので、読みはそれこそゲームとか通して、
なるほど、
ゲーム、漫画で読めない漢字が出たら母親に聞く。そして結構その漫画とかって同じワードが何度も出てきますから復習になるんですよ。だからリーディング力はそれで身につけて、会話は基本的に家の中でずっと日本語だったんですけど、別に喋る子じゃなかったので、ほとんど喋ってこなかったので、これじゃまずいなっていうことで、大学生ぐらいになってからちょっとこう日記をつけたりすることによって日本語で、それまではそうですね、それまでは結構英語でいろいろ文章書いてたりしたんですけど、日本語力上げたいなと思って、で、日本語で日記を拙い日本語でこう、書いていくうちに、表現力がちょっとずつ上がっていって、やっぱそのライティング力が上がれば話したい内容とかが結構整理されるじゃないですか。そのおかげで、スピーキングもちょっとずつこううまくなってきたのかなっていう気がするのと、あと独り言をすっごいするんですよ。
独り言です。
でそれは英語でもそうですけど、多分10年前ぐらいかな。だから日本に帰ってきて、で録音機使って、寝る前とかただただ語るっていうのをもう10年ぐらい続けていて、でこれで実感してるのが、やっぱりその練習量を増やせば上手くなるんだなっていうのはこれで確信 したんですよ。
ちゃんと日記もつけてライティングもするし、そしてまたスピーキングで話してそれ残して聞くしっていう。
そうですね。
アウトプットをされてたんです
ね。そうですね。はい。そうなんですよ。だから本当に喋らない子供だったので、もうトーク力もないし、だから。
今では全然想像できないですね。
まあちょっとマシになったかなとそうなんですけど、すごい憧れてたんですよ、その話が上手い人たちに。でなんでこの人たちは話が上手いのかなっていうのを考えたら、とにかくいっぱい喋ってるんだろうなっていう結論に至って、じゃあ自分は今までどれぐらい喋ってきたのかって言ったらほぼ喋ってない、当然だよねってことで、だからもう大量に練習するようになった。
じゃあ量ですね、アウトプットどんどんするっていう。なるほど、ありがとうございます。謎が解けました。なぜそんなに日本語が分からないのかという。で今日はですね、一ノ瀬先生に、聞きたいことがあるんですけれども、いろんな方とねコラボされていて、特に英語関係の、方たちとお話をされていて、すごく自分もね見させていただいて参考になってます。ありがとうございます。で今日はですね、皆さんがご存知ないような一ノ瀬先生の側面をちょっと暴きたいなというか、ちょっとアンパックしたいなというところがありまして、ちょっとねいろんな質問をご用意させていただいております。なので、そしてまたねいつも日本語でこう話されるじゃないですか。
多いですね。
で、一ノ瀬先生は英語のトフルだったりとかIeltsだったりとかもう満点で、そしてまたね国連英検とかも特 A 級取って元旦賞をお取りになったりとか、もう本当に素晴らしい先生で、もう概要欄にね本当に載せておきますけれども、本当に素晴らしいトップの英語講師で、トフルゼミナールでもね働かれておられて、本当にもう素晴らしい方、もう尊敬心しかねないですし、本当にもうへりくだる思いしかないんですけれども、本当に、その中ちょっと他の方たちとはちょっと一線を画して、ちょっと今日はそのいつも見せない一ノ瀬先生を、本当の一ノ瀬先生のちょっと片鱗をね少しでも視聴者の方にご覧いただこうということで、ちょっと英語で、質問をいくつかね、させていただきたいなと思っておりますので。
Are you ready?
Yes. ちょっとね僕のね拙い英語で質問させていただきながらいろんなお話をさせていただければと。よろしいですか？You ready?
Of course. Yes.
Great. Thank you. All right. Thanks again for the opportunity.
No worries.
Thank you so much. All right. I'm so indebted that you're here. Thank you.
All right. Pleasure to be
Yeah.
here.
So let's talk about the language which you have love and passion for. As everybody knows, you're perfect bilingual. So just tell me, how did you come to be such a perfect bilingual, Japanese and English?
Okay, well, first of all, actually never was a perfect bilingual, and I still don't consider myself to be perfect. I think one of the problems of being raised as a bilingual is that you have to learn two languages at the same time. And the amount of time that we can spend on each language, well, on improving our language skills, is obviously limited.
Right.
So if you compare someone who is learning both Japanese and English at the same time to a monolingual who's only learning, let's say, English. So the rate that we're able to improve our language skills is obviously going to be different. Right? So I've got my Japanese and English is up to like here, whereas the monolingual is up to here. And so I always felt that I wasn't able to express what I was feeling properly in either language. And so it sometimes felt like I didn't have like a mother tongue. And I really struggled.
Your heart language.
Yeah, that's right. And that continued until I was maybe like 20 years old. Right? And then from there, I actually started teaching part-time at around that age. And I was teaching English.
Where were you teaching?
I was just like home tutoring. So I was teaching like 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds English. And obviously when you teach, you need to be good at verbalization, you need to explain things well. And I realized that I wasn't able to do that. So that's when I realized that I have to train myself to be able to explain things more clearly. And and what I didn't want to become is one of those people who mixed the two languages together when they speak. I used to do that a lot when I was younger. But I thought I should separate the two languages. When I'm speaking Japanese, I use Japanese. When I'm speaking English, I use English. And so from around 20, I really started to focus on that, and I've just been practicing. It's just it doesn't come easy.
Okay. So you didn't really develop to be the perfect bilingual from the beginning.
No.
It took time.
Oh,
for you
definitely.
to,
Yeah.
right. And you mentioned about the experiencing the feeling as well.
Yeah.
That was the hardest part
Yeah.
for you, right?
Yeah.
So were you able to like overcome that part as well? Like, can you express your feelings now in either language right now?
Yeah, so now I'm able to do it much better.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. Although I still feel that I can still improve. So I think I'm a very visual thinker.
Yeah.
So, I like to imagine things, I like to imagine my future.
Right.
But sometimes, so to me it makes complete sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yes, this is what I want to do, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
But when it comes to trying to articulate those thoughts, I still sometimes have a bit of trouble. Like I say something to someone,
Right.
and I look at their expression, oh, they didn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
That still happens. So I'm still working on my articulation skills, but it has gotten better.
Okay. So you see things first, right? You
Yeah.
visualize things in
Yeah.
your heart or brain, and then
Yeah.
you put it into practice.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Sounds good. All right. Well, thanks for explaining.
No worries.
Yeah. Oh, you're such a perfect bilingual speaker. I'm really just impressed. Thank you. Right. And you already mentioned what the reason why you're so good at Japanese, right? Yeah. So practice process starting with the gaming and manga. What was your favorite manga, by the way?
Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball, yay! Right, we have the
same?
Of course. All right.
I love it.
Oh, good. From the beginning?
Yeah,
like
of course.
Very first.
I had
wow.
all how many are there? Like 40, 41, 42
Right.
volumes.
Yeah, you're in the number.
Yeah.
That's amazing. All right, but then I'm just wondering, was it available in Australia?
There's I lived in Sydney, and there's a Kinokuniya.
Oh
in
yeah,
Sydney. I'm not sure
there
if it's...
is.
Oh, there is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you have to pay like 3 times.
Import fee.
The price, yeah.
Right.
So, but yeah, but I did visit Japan maybe 2 or 3 times while I was still living in Australia, and every time I came to Japan I'd go to like the second-hand bookstores and I'd look for the Dragon Ball comics.
Right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, they are available in Australia as well.
Right. So thanks to Dragon Ball,
Yeah.
it boosted your Japanese.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Right.
And Goku is my hero. Hero as well.
Well, I totally empathize with you.
Yeah, great.
I love Dragon Ball too.
Yeah,
Goku as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Right. Sometimes you feel like you're the Goku, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're the center of the,
That's
the
right.
story.
That's right. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Let's talk about your experience as an English teacher, right? So since you told me that you're been working as an English teacher at the TOEFL seminar for 10 years.
10 years now. Yeah.
Right? Did you work before as a teacher in Japan?
I worked at a little like a cram school.
Cram school as well.
Yeah. As part time. So when I first came back to Japan, I worked at a supermarket and also a little cram school, and I stayed there for about 4 years.
4 years, okay.
Yeah.
Right. So you have a total of like 14 plus years of experience as a teacher.
Teaching in Japan,
Yeah, in Japan,
Yeah.
right. Okay. So, not English really per se, but I think English or the education itself means a lot to you.
Yeah.
So I just want to ask, like, what does education mean to you? I know it's a big question, but what does education per se, or particularly teaching in English, what does that mean to you personally?
Right. Wow. Do we have time?
Yeah. Sure we do.
All right. Well, maybe let's look at it from the perspective of schools. So I think when most people hear the word education, maybe they think schools.
Right.
So
Yeah.
when I think about what the function of a school is, I think, well, the ideal kind of school is one that teaches children skills that they need or they should have in order to become successful, in order to become happy in life. But I think like education, or the education system is kind of changing. I think the role of education is changing or needs to change. So in the past, I think we had no choice but to gather like 30, 40 students into one classroom and have one expert tell them, teach them whatever their expertise is.
Right.
If that's English or history. But that was probably like the best way to educate children.
Yeah.
But I think times have changed, and usually it's because of technology. When technology changes, I think like society changes, and what the best way to teach kind of changes as well. And the thing is, technology evolves really quickly, whereas making changes to the education system takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
So there's no way that the education system can keep up with the evolution of technology. So I think there's a gap between the ideal form of education and the reality. So yeah, I think, so I think especially maybe because of the advent of AI, and you probably know ChatGPT and all the other kind of AIs. I mean, they're able to teach so much stuff. I mean, they might not be 100% reliable.
Yeah.
But so long as a student is like willing to learn, nowadays I don't think they really need to rely on schools for like academic knowledge. So then, what should be the role of schools? I think it doesn't necessarily have to be like the transfer of knowledge, expectation of knowledge, but it's like I think teachers need to become like motivators more than anything, because so long as the students are motivated, then they can learn on their own. So teachers should be motivators, facilitators, okay, rather than just people who teach things to kids. So I think that's probably how education is going to change in the near future. Well, that's how it probably should change. I'm not sure how realistic that is. But I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, there's definitely like the differences between the reality and the ideal. Yeah. The ideal shape of the education that you're imagining, and and I think you're filling the gap, probably.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope to do so.
Yeah. Right. Thank you. Do you love teaching?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. What made you love it?
Well, to be honest, like I wasn't really interested in teaching until I had to choose my career path. So when I was 18, or 17 or 18,
after high school, like end of high school.
Yeah, I had to think about whether or not I wanted to go to university, and I wasn't a very critical thinker back then. I just went with the flow. So I wasn't really thinking about my future. But my parents suggested that I probably should go to university. And then I thought, all right, so then what am I going to study at university? And I thought, well, I can, my English and Japanese is not too bad, so I want to do something using these two things. What's that? Well, maybe it's teaching. So that's why I actually studied education at university.
So it was your mom and dad who kind of suggested in the beginning?
Yeah. Okay. So it wasn't as if I really wanted to teach. So that was the beginning. And I think I mentioned earlier, or maybe I didn't, I worked part-time teaching little children English. And so
at the time.
that was my first contact with so-called education, teaching.
And that was in Australia still, right?
That was Australia.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I was around 20 or something.
Yeah.
And I found it difficult at first.
What did you find the difficulty was?
Verbalization, explaining concepts. I understood that I can't explain something that I don't fully understand.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So I didn't have enough knowledge. I didn't have the articulation skills.
Right. So at the time.
Yeah. That's a little better now. But so I started spending a bit of time improving those skills, and then I started to see changes in the students' reactions, and so I suppose I just enjoy being able to help others understand interesting concepts, and enjoy learning, because learning is supposed to be fun, I think.
Yes, indeed, of course, Do you perceive teaching, or rather teaching English, as your vocation or calling?
That's a good question. Maybe not teaching English, but maybe doing something that's related to interacting with people and helping them realize their goals and things like that. English just happened to be the means.
The means, right? Not the goals itself.
So what I really want to do is, I'm really passionate about motivational speaking. Like I love watching like motivational speakers tell you about how it's important to go after your dreams and never give up. And those are the kinds of messages that I'd like to spread to more people. So eventually, as I said earlier, in the future, what's going to be important is not just the transfer of knowledge, but motivating students, helping them understand the joy of learning. So I think, slowly, I'm probably going to shift my focus to that. Yeah.
So not only the transfer of knowledge, but the transfer of passion and love and motivation.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Sounds really good.
Thank you.
Thank you. As you've been working as a teacher for 14 years plus in total, what were the challenges that you have faced?
Right.
And the flip side is, what are the rewards that you felt?
Right.
Can you give us some examples, couple examples?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, challenges, as I mentioned earlier, was, I suppose, the difficulties of really truly understanding, what the student knows and, how to best explain things. Because, what might the explanation that might make sense to student A might not make sense to student B. So different backgrounds. So, you have to think about all those things. It's it's not just all about explaining things, but understanding their perspectives and where they're coming from, and also, you have to be really careful about the words that you use, because sometimes there are sensitive students. Like how much praising should you do, how much scolding should you do? It's all different. Everyone's different. Yeah. So understanding each individual learner, I suppose.
And you have to adjust your demeanor and how the level of teaching to them as well.
Yeah, I suppose. And by teaching someone, you actually have the potential to change their entire lives. So I do feel quite a bit of responsibility doing that. So I suppose that might be considered a challenge. And as for the rewards, as I said earlier, just being able to help people understand the joy of learning. I also get to improve myself as well. You actually learn best by teaching. So by actually
that's true too.
By teaching things to students, I'm also able to upgrade my knowledge. And I think that's also important. You need to show as a teacher that you are also still a learner. And if they see that, students they know if a student if a teacher is passionate about what they're doing. So that's, I suppose, the reward. I get to help others, and I get to improve myself as well.
And I guess that motivate you back as well. Because they're doing their best, and you feel motivated as well.
Give and take.
Give and take. Right, indeed. All right, thank you. So we talked about your experience as a teacher, and you shared about your passionate feeling toward education and teaching, and thank you for that. Now I want to shift a little bit more, a bigger picture about education, which you already touched upon, how you feel about education and stuff. But rather, in the context of in the Japanese culture, the English teaching in Japan, what do you see, or what do you want to what exactly do you want to achieve or do, if you want to alter something or to try to improve the Japanese teaching, the English teaching education in Japan, in the context of that, how exactly do you envision to bring out the change?
Right. Well, there's a couple of things I want to do, but I think the most important thing is a change, causing a change in people's mindsets. So, I mean, everything begins in the mind. Right. So,
indeed,
we think about things, we imagine things, and we feel certain emotions, and then we take action, and then that's how the world changes. So
how we think.
Right. So if we can kind of not teach people, but if we can help people kind of understand the value of being able to use the English language, I think more people will be willing to learn, because at the moment I think because for most students their first contact with the English language is school education.
Yes.
And well, I think in some elementary schools they do teach conversational English, but then they start grammar. And I think while grammar is important, obviously, if that's all that you do, you don't really get the opportunity to use the language in order to communicate with others. And so you don't see language as a tool for communication. You just see it as a thing that you like a puzzle that you have to solve.
Right.
At the desk. And of course, for some people, that can be really rewarding. Some people like doing that, and that's fine. But I think if you asked everyone in Japan, like, do you want to learn English, and what would you want to use it for? I think the majority would say, I just want to be able to communicate. It doesn't have to be about difficult concepts. I just want to have daily conversations with foreigners. So, if that's the case, then ideally that should be what's taught at school. Okay, but it's not possible because speaking and writing can't be graded. It's very difficult to grade.
Right.
But one of the functions of schools is to grade their students, rank them so that these people get to go to this university, these people get to go to this.
Right.
So I just think that English education at school is kind of incompatible with conversational English. So going back to the mindset problem, if we can somehow show people, maybe outside of school, how English can be used in order to make your life more fulfilling, enriching, and we could do that through YouTube or something. I think there are already some influencers who are showing themselves, going abroad and talking to foreigners, and that's probably inspiring a lot of people to start learning conversational English. So if more people start thinking that way, then they'll start to be more receptive towards making changes to English education. My mindset is one thing. Am I talking too much?
Yeah.
Okay. And I think another thing is if teachers can kind of collaborate, and what I want to do in the future is I want to create like a space where lots of people from different backgrounds, but who are working in the field of English education, they can just get together and kind of say what they feel and have meaningful discussions without people interrupting and criticizing each other. So there are all sorts of people involved in English. There are like writers, translators like yourself. We've got interpreters. We've got people who teach conversational English. We've got school teachers. We've got politicians who are working to try and make the system better. So what I want to do is to make my channel like a hub for all sorts of people to come in, just to talk about their thoughts, and we should try to come up with the best solution so that everyone kind of benefits. So I think that's how I kind of envision myself changing English education.
So you mentioned about thank you. You mentioned about mindset, right?
Yeah.
So how do you envision to change the mindset of individuals? Because I don't think it's easy without any structural, systemic, changes as well. So like you mentioned about YouTube, like what yourself is doing, and then I'm doing as well. So that's also one media that's good, that's effective. But what else? What other ways do you envision that you can use to bring that change?
Probably nowadays, social media is probably the best way, I think, to reach out. To reach out to a wide audience, because what other ways are there? TV maybe, but it's kind of on the decline.
Yeah, it is.
Even if I write something in the newspaper, it's not as if young people are reading newspapers every day. So I think we really can't underestimate like the power of social media, because not only can we reach people in Japan, but also people around the world as well.
Right.
So if I can kind of, well, not just me, but people who have big YouTube channels, if they can start talking about the joys of learning English, then I think slowly people will begin to be influenced.
Right. Yeah. So you mentioned about collaboration as well. So like envisioning also your channel or to be a catalyst for
Yeah.
other people to just mingle and comment and
Yeah.
share ideas to make something, like you mentioned the word solution,
Yeah.
right? So what do you envision that solution particularly to be? How do you envision that solution to be?
So what do I expect will
Right,
come out?
Right.
Thing?
What is that? What does that look like?
Yeah,
That's my question.
so that's the thing. So the thing is, I'm going to be honest, so I don't have the answer.
Okay.
And that's exactly why I think
It's okay not to
yeah.
answer.
Yeah, I think, that's the thing as well.
Yeah.
People kind of expect people to have answers.
Yeah, right. All the time.
Yeah. That's another kind of mindset that we need to change. Like,
Yes.
teachers don't know everything.
Yeah.
Experts don't know everything.
Yeah.
Let's admit that.
Right.
And let's be honest
Sure.
with each other.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then we can have honest, meaningful discussions. So, I do have my kind of vision of what I do want to achieve, but that's based on really limited knowledge. So there's a good chance that that's wrong and that can be improved. So I kind of want to test my vision with all sorts of people and try and improve it over time and come up with the best solution. Just by getting the help of others.
Okay. All right. Thank you for sharing. That was really, really meaningful and edifying. Yeah. Thank you so much. All right. So, Ichiro Sensei, thank you so much for your time. We shared about your experience of bilingual and your teaching experience and your passion for that. How do you envision the changes, to be brought about? And thank you so much for sharing with us.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. ありがとうございました。
はい、ありがとうございました。
Thank you.
はい
Alright. 一ノ瀬先生のですね、今ちょっとお話しいただいた、内容、ちょっとね、いろいろあったと思うんですけれども、またね、ちょっと字幕とかね、また振り返りながら見ていただければと思います。はい。今日本当に一ノ瀬先生ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。
はい。ご活動、応援させていただきます。
ありがとうございます。
はい。
頑張ります
良い変革がもたらされるように、
は
はいい、願っております。
ありがとうございます。
はい
嬉しいです。
はい。ありがとうございました。
はい、ありがとうございます。
じゃあ、バイバイ。
これバイバイ。